Some breaking news just in about an exciting forward Tottenham are looking at in Ligue 1. Meanwhile, mad transfer reports yesterday that Tottenham's unbelievable new goalkeeper may already be attracting interest from the world's biggest club. Do these people even know Daniel Levy? Ridiculous. Also today, the transfer Don talks more about Spurs looking to bring two more faces into the club this January, and over in South London, Arsenal's dire need for a world-class striker has led them to lock up a deal for yet another Spanish midfielder. But not for now, for the summer. Weird. All this and more on today's edition of Daily Premier League Transfer News with me, Barnaby Slater. Guys, thank you so much for watching and for listening. If you're on YouTube, please do give this video a like. Let's get it seen by as many people as possible. And please, if you're not already, do subscribe to this channel. I'm getting closer to 15,000 subscribers and really like to get there as quickly as possible and build this community up. I'm loving it at the moment. So much chat about transfers and, of course, always starting with my team, my beloved Tottenham Hotspur. So let's get going. And like I said, news just in. Tottenham are amongst clubs who have shown an interest in Nice forward Evan Guessan. According to reports, over £20 million as a bid could test Nice's resolve. He's 23 years old. He's an Ivory Coast international who has played in all of the unders age groups for France. And I'll tell you what, I like the look of him. He glides past players, pacey, quick, skillful runner, gets to the byline, which is absolutely huge, of course, for Ange Postecoglou when he's looking for players to potentially add quality to our forward line. He's direct, he shows for the ball, takes it on the half turn with his back to goal, so can kind of play in that number 9 position as well as out wide. Also not afraid to drop deep into midfield, so lots and lots of quality about this boy. Good weight of pass, both mid-range and short in terms of through balls, and he can head it as well. Quite an exciting player to be linked with, one kind of out of the left field, which probably doesn't surprise me so much when you think about how Johan Lange and Scott Munn like to do their business. Obviously, the Colo Muani transfer talk is still ongoing. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. But these kind of players who come from out of nowhere, that there are no reports on until right towards the end when a deal is nearly done, they seem to be far more up Johan Lange's street. One thing that I think could be a potential negative about this interest is that he plays for Nice, who are owned by Ineos, who of course now have the big sporting controlling stake in Manchester United. So would that make it a tougher deal? Would Manchester United's owners not be desperate to help a club who is swimming in the same waters as them in the Premier League and, of course, in the FA Cup and Europa League too? Let me know what you think in the comments. Take a look at Evan Guessan. What do you think about him as a player? Would he complement what Tottenham are trying to do under Ange Postecoglou at the moment? On first look, for me, I think he would. He's of the right kind of age as well. Another young, hungry player who we could add to the squad to try and grow with our burgeoning talent pool at Tottenham Hotspur. And what I like about him is he's quick, he's direct, a skillful runner, got a trick about him too, but also that good weight of pass and the ability to take the ball on the half turn. Very exciting links. I hope this is one that may go further. As I mentioned in the opening there, some mad reports yesterday that Antonin Kinsky, Tony, as we like to call him, he is already interesting Real Madrid. And some mad reports coming out that he's learning Spanish because he sees Tottenham as just a stepping stone and an intermediate step. It sounds like absolute agent talk bollocks to me, probably come out of nowhere. I'm very excited, as you will know if you've been watching my videos, about Kinsky and how he's our Tottenham's first ever modern day distributor goalkeeper. And then also in that game against Tamworth at the weekend, he really impressed me with his proactivity from set pieces, from free kicks, coming to claim everything and coming hard and assertively and winning free kicks from blocks where necessary. So very excited about him. I think it's far too early to worry about big clubs coming in for him. I don't know why anyone would report about things like that when Daniel Levy would straight away say, oh, well, we bought him for £12 million. You can have him for £100 million if you want. It's not going to happen, and we're going to have Kinsky for a long time. And as I've said, and it caused a bit of a stir in the comments, actually, let me know more what you think. I think Tony Kinsky is going to cause a big problem for Guillermo Vicario. Look, I can't say how Kinsky's form will continue up until when Vicario is ready to come back. But if he continues to show the forward-thinking aggressiveness with both his coming to claim corners and set pieces, but also with his distribution and his shot stopping so far has been second to none, then yeah, it's hard to see how Vicario gets straight back in. But like I said, it's subjective. Let me know what you think in the comments. Am I being harsh on Vicario, who has had a great season, of course, a great season and a half at Spurs, but he is left a little bit wanting when it comes to that kind of aggressiveness coming for set pieces and corners. Okay, according to L'Équipe in France, which is France's biggest newspaper and certainly the best sports newspaper, Tottenham are active in the race for Randall Colo Muani from PSG. Daniel Levy has very good relations with the PSG president, Nasser El Khalifi. Of course, there have been many reports down the last year or two that Tottenham have been looking for some Qatari investment. So that's probably where those relations are really good. Discussions have taken place between Spurs and PSG about Colo Muani, and the prospect of potentially joining the Premier League seduces, according to L'Équipe, that's the word they've used, seduces Colo Muani. Juventus, as we know, still interested in the player, but apparently, according to L'Équipe, lacking funds to put towards a deal. Manchester United also called about him last week and wished to remain informed about what's going on with him, but the Marcus Rashford exit will be key to any possibility of Colo Muani going to Manchester United. Paris Saint-Germain insist on what they want for Colo Muani, which is a loan fee plus an obligation to buy, but he will definitely leave this January. So it looks like he'll either be going to Spurs, Juventus, or Manchester United, but only if Manchester United let go or manage to find a good deal for Marcus Rashford. So I think, based on everything I'm hearing, I think Tottenham are kind of still in the lead for Colo Muani, but it will be going on in Daniel Levy and Scott Munn's mind for a lot longer than they wish. They wish to have got him in by now. And it seems like Paris Saint-Germain and probably the player and his representatives are just weighing up, trying to wait for the right or what they deem to be the best offer. As I mentioned in the title, Fabrizio Romano was asked yesterday about Tottenham's January window and are they going to make more signings? He said, yes, they are. He's definitive about it. I'm expecting more signings after Tony Kinsky. Colo Muani is their top priority, but Juventus are there also. Man United have asked to be informed, but there could be more for Spurs, at least one or two more. So always good to hear the transfer don himself, Fabrizio Romano, saying that Tottenham are active in the market. And as I've said with some of these links already today, not just Muani, but some of these newer links, very exciting that Spurs are spreading their net far afield and looking for more players who will absolutely suit Big Ange's style of play. A report came out from Di Marzio yesterday that Napoli have held exploratory talks about the possibility of signing Tottenham's Timo Werner, who's of course on loan from Leipzig. Tottenham apparently reluctant to let him go ahead of an important match because they have the North London derby. However, that has all changed this morning because Werner has, according to Ange Postecoglou, picked up a hamstring injury. The severity of it is not known at this time, and results of testing yet to come back. Another hamstring injury for Tottenham under Ange Postecoglou. However, and I don't want to sound horrible here, and let me know what you think in the comments, but I'd say this is probably the first positive hamstring injury we've got because I felt like because Timo Werner has been fit and in the squad, Ange has always gone to him first in kind of a hierarchical manner over some of the younger prospects or some of the other options. But now that Mikey Moore is back fit again, and Sonny and Mikey Moore can kind of split the minutes, and also Richarlison is coming back fit again for the North London derby tomorrow night, I kind of don't want Timo Werner to be available for Ange to even have the option to bring on from the bench or to select from the start. And never do I wish ill or an injury on anyone, but I think this may actually benefit Tottenham in terms of their ability to get more technical players on the park and players who can finish off chances and do good things for this Ange Postecoglou system. So yeah, although there was apparently some interest in Timo Werner yesterday, I'm sure that has now been totally dampened by this injury. And this should mean more minutes for Mikey Moore. And we just need to hope that Richarlison can stay fit now, because he can offer us a good option on that left-hand side in the forward line as well. Ange Postecoglou asked this morning in his North London derby press conference about potential outgoings from Spurs this month. He said the following: "We can't afford to let players go. There could be some young ones like Alfie Dorrington has gone out on loan to Aberdeen, and young Will Lancashire could go as well." He was then asked about whether any signings are imminent and about the window as a whole, and Ange said this: "It's hard to say. Like most other clubs, January is a difficult one to really have any certainty about anything. The club is working really hard in that area, and if there are any developments, we will let everyone know." And as I mentioned, Richarlison on track to be in the squad for the North London derby, and Ben Davies is close He's been shown in a lot of the training videos and training pictures from this week at the Tottenham training ground. But whether he'll be quite ready to be in the squad remains to be seen. Okay, guys, before I get into some more wide-ranging Premier League transfer news, once again, please, if you haven't, press that like button on this video. And also, please do subscribe, if you haven't already, to my channel for daily Premier League transfer news throughout this January and the summer. Always, of course, starting with my team, Tottenham Hotspur. And if you want to help me and support me make these daily videos for you, please do become a member, either a YouTube member or a Patreon member. It's only £1 a month, and all the details of how are in the description box below. I've got about 60 members. I really appreciate you all. I'd love to get that up to 100 members, guys. So if you can afford £1 a month and want to help me, please do go to those links in the description box and give me a little help. Okay, guys, going over to more wide-ranging Premier League transfer news. And I'm sure you've heard that no Premier League profit and sustainability rules charges have been brought this year. That is a far cry from last year when, of course, Nottingham Forest were called out, and, of course, Everton as well. Well, I'm sorry to be quite strong and stern about this, but I kind of think this is completely ridiculous. Chelsea have sold their hotel to themselves, to a kind of sister company owned by the same company as them, and they've sold their women's team to themselves at what seems to be an incredibly inflated value as well. Meanwhile, when it came to the deadline for profit and sustainability rules for this period, clubs like Aston Villa, Nottingham Forest and Newcastle all sold players to one another, players who'd hardly played any first team games whatsoever, for massively, or what seemed to be massively inflated fees. And look, you know, I get it. Everyone's got to look after their own and stuff. But when you're supporting a club like Spurs who have tried to do things sustainably down the years and waiting for when these rules properly come in so that their sustainable way of working can move them up, it's such a shame to see how other clubs are just basically gaming the system, and particularly Chelsea, really, Chelsea are still under they've got a big problem when it comes to a potential points deduction for a charge that they've admitted back when Abramovich was the chairman. When Todd Bowley came in and Clearlake came in, they saw back in their books from years before that they had committed many illegalities in terms of paying managers off the books and things like that, and they are still waiting to hear what their points deduction for something they've admitted will be. So it's kind of a shame to me that, having admitted that, they're then doing things like selling hotels to themselves and overinflating the price of their women's team so that then they can sell it to themselves again. I mean, for me, like, what stops them from then selling it to themselves again next time they're in trouble? It just makes sense to me. It stinks of kind of financial irregularity, and it seems to me like the Premier League do not have any control over it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Am I going too far? For me, it just seems like they're taking the piss, frankly. And the same goes for those kind of transfer deals when the deadline was, but for players who barely played any Premier League minutes, going for tens of millions of pounds. But anyway, there you go. Let's go to Old Trafford. They are said to value Alejandro Garnacho, their winger, at about £42 million, and that is amid interest from Napoli, who are looking to replace their Georgian international genius, of course. Bayern Munich have joined Chelsea in the race for 19-year-old Manchester United and England midfielder Kobe Mainoo. He's a player that I think Tottenham should be looking at, really, if they're looking for a big number six, a proper number six. And if United really are willing to accept bids for their young homegrown players for pure profitary reasons, then if I'm Tottenham, I would be going somewhere near that. But of course, as ever, Chelsea looking to buy the best young talent in the world, and that's why they're interested in Mainoo. An exclusive that Manchester United have added Nene Dorgeles from Red Bull Salzburg to their list of options for either this January or the summer. The Malayan winger is being monitored by the club, and initial talks have been asked or requested to be informed on the price and the package. Man United keep working on that before making a decision. They're also potentially willing to let Tyrell Malacia, their fullback, leave on a loan deal this month. That's according to Fabrizio Romano. Also at Chelsea, Fabrizio Romano has gone big, as have a few other reputable journalists, on this Matthias Tell, the Bayern Munich forward story. Bayern and Chelsea held initial talks about a possible swap deal with Christopher Nkunku, another striker who I really rate, and I don't really understand why he's not getting many minutes at Chelsea. Really reminds me of a kind of more powerful Jermaine Defoe, and is scoring for fun in their Europa Conference League run, but just not rated highly enough to get in ahead of Nicholas Jackson, who has had a good start to his season. But Bild reported that nothing, that's Bild in Germany, reported that nothing advanced or is advanced or is close yet, but initial talks took place. Chelsea value Christopher Nkunku at around £65 million. Bayern want him and Chelsea want Matthias Tell. Is that a swap deal that could get done? Aston Villa have opened discussion with Sevilla as they look to sign their 24-year-old French defender Loic Bardet. And over to West Ham. West Ham have inquired about Dominic Calvert-Lewin, possibly interested in making a move for their 27-year-old, Everton's 27-year-old striker. Of course, Calvert-Lewin, I think his contract is up in the summer, and West Ham are devoid of options in the forward line at the moment because Antonio had that car crash, Jared Bowen has broken his foot, and Nicholas Füllkrug got injured in their FA Cup game at the weekend as well. So West Ham looking at other options. Arsenal, a big story today. They're set to sign Martin Zubamendi, the 25-year-old Spanish international from Real Sociedad, at the end of the season. That concludes a long chase for them looking at Zubamendi. Liverpool also wanted him. Man City were interested in him at one point. But as I said at the top, why are they looking to spend more money on their midfield right now when clearly all their fans know, and everybody, all the pundits and everybody watching knows, they need a world-class striker? I don't know what Arteta is doing, being stubborn, I would suggest. And also in South London, Borussia Dortmund are exploring a deal to sign Arsenal's Alexander Zinchenko. There's been no formal approach from the German club as yet, according to Sky Germany, but the 28-year-old left-back is keen to leave the Emirates. Arsenal apparently open to letting him leave on loan with an obligation to buy at about £17 million. Okay, guys, that's been today's episode of Daily Premier League Transfer News. Thank you so much for watching. Like I said before, do give me a like. Do press subscribe. Trying to get closer to that 15,000 subscriber mark. Let's do it, guys. Let's get there. 15k. That would be so cool. And also, you can listen to this on the podcast platforms. Please do go and follow me or subscribe to me at Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Just type in the Spurred On podcast to the search engine and you'll find me there every day with this daily content. Okay, guys, enjoy your Tuesday. Thanks a lot. Goodbye.